Hello everyone, this is Ronan Blue in some sort of forest here in Hua Hin, Thailand. But today I'd like to talk about the pros and cons of living in Hua Hin. But let's first talk about the pros of living in Hua Hin. So having been in Hua Hin for close to a month now, I can say that we have a pretty good idea of what life is like in Hua Hin. And first off, what I've noticed straight off is the expat community, or the small community here from all nationalities that are part of the town. And what's interesting is everybody speaks English here, and that's a common tongue, regardless of what nationality they're from. So it has this very welcoming feeling together with the Thais, and that little small community mentality is a great point about living in Hua Hin. But another great point about living in Hua Hin is that we feel incredibly safe in Hua Hin. And Hua Hin actually has one of the most safest place, I would say, in Thailand, given that the royal family has a summer palace here. So you'll find it's not very dangerous here. And we walk around at night as well, and with no problems at all. And I mean, it is a bit of a touristy area, but really it's a very relaxed environment, and yeah, you'll feel completely safe there. But another pro of Hua Hin is that there's not a very large population, and it's a very small crowd of people. The population is roughly about 80,000, and they're not all natives of Hua Hin either. They're like people who come from the surrounding even smaller towns that gather together in Hua Hin. But another the thing is, Hua Hin is actually a town dedicated for those Bangkok residents who come down to Hua Hin for the weekend. It does get a little bit crowded over the weekends, I find. That's why we actually have we usually tend to stay indoors on the weekends and go out on the weekdays like this. And when we walk around, such as like in this forest that's just pretty popular, it's usually crowded with a lot of people. But today it's not, because it's a Tuesday afternoon. So, but another advantage you would have in living in Hua Hin would be the healthcare is not that expensive, and also dental cleaning as well. We actually had a dental cleaning the other day for the both of us, and it was $35 USD per person, and they had pretty modern facility there, and we didn't have any issues. My girlfriend didn't really think that it was on par with North America, but for me it was all right. I felt my teeth were cleaned quite well the other day. But there are 3 major hospitals in Hua Hin, so you can choose any one of them if you'd like. But I actually heard that they recently have approved something that becomes somewhat of a disadvantage. Is they actually raised the healthcare for foreigners, which is definitely going to be a disadvantage in the longer term. But if you have the proper international healthcare insurance, then it shouldn't really be an issue. Another advantage of living in Hua Hin is that the pollution levels are really low. I mean, Hua Hin is right next to the ocean there, and there's this really nice breeze that comes in, and we love it, because Thailand is a pretty hot place, but it doesn't really feel that way in Hua Hin because of that nice sea breeze that comes through. And even when you're in, farther out, blocks away from the edge there, you still feel that breeze. And actually my girlfriend did mention that she has never slept so well anyplace else other than Hua Hin, which is pretty amazing to hear. I sleep pretty well as well. The thing is, if you go up north around Chiang Mai and Chiang Rai, they have the burning season, and the pollution is already sort of bad, but then you add the burning season on top of that, and the air quality isn't as good. And that's what's great about Hua Hin, because the air is so fresh, especially where I'm walking right now. It's like the air is completely filtered walking through this mangrove here. But another great thing is that it's really has everything, right? um, I mean, it's not a large city, it's a town, but you have all the amenities that you need. And on top of that, you know, you have these forested areas as well where you can take your daily walks in nature. And there's a beach as well. So I mean, the beach in itself isn't a beach where you can lie down in front of. The waters are a little bit rough, but if you like surfing, kite surfing and all that, then it's perfect for you as well. But for us, we just like sort of strolling next to the beach, so it kind of works out well. And it has a really relaxing feel as well. A beach town and the beach mentality. It is a slower pace of life, but it's very relaxing. Another thing is transportation is really easy here. Like for example, coming here, we took a Grab. Grab is kind of like an Uber, and it only took about 2 minutes for them to come by and pick us up and drop us off here. And I mean, it took about 20 minutes to get here, but I'm saying that Grab is everywhere. And also there's a bunch of taxis too, but we prefer to take Grab just because it's overall kind of more affordable than the taxis. I find case by case, some people say different, but there's also those song taos too, those trucks that pick people up in Hua Hin for like 10 baht. But the thing is, you'll be pressed up against other people on that same truck, the back of it. But it's a good way to travel. And there's also scooter taxis as well, where you can, if you're brave enough to sit on the back of one. But you can also drive your own scooters. We prefer actually not to ride the scooters just yet. I want to take some lessons first. I heard it's not that difficult, but to me it's just, I hear a lot of road accidents with them, and I would rather stay away from them. But then other than that, the transportation system, you can walk around too. The streets and the sidewalks are really wide, so we don't have an issue at all walking from point A to B. And Hua Hin has this one main road that stretches out for kilometers, and it's a great way to just walk around. But another great thing would be the people. They're super laid back and friendly in Hua Hin, especially around Hua Hin because it's on the countryside. So everyone has that country mentality, and they're so super laid back. Like I mentioned earlier, it's a beach town. And you know, there's only two phrases that I know, Sawadi Krop and Kopung Kop, which means hello and thank you. And it's funny, I still get giggles from it, but they try to communicate with me still, even though, you know, they can tell that I'm not, you know, a Thai, but they try and communicate with me still. And they're very friendly people. And I find that my gestures, my hand gestures, are getting better in communicating with people, and most of them are able to understand what I'm saying. But another pro would definitely be the food. Now the food is super cheap, as long as you stay with the Thai food. But there's tons of different selection here as well. We go to this one day market like almost every second day, and we only spend like less than 10 bucks a day for food, and we're getting full meals here. You know, we're getting like chicken, pork, rice, and seafood, fruits and vegetables, and all of that in combination, like a whole bunch of it for 2 days worth, is less than 10 bucks. It's almost like, and there's two of us as well. It's you'll find those hidden gems in and around Hua Hin, where you can find jewels like that, you know, that are very affordable, especially when you're thinking of staying there for a longer term. But let's look at some of the cons of Hua Hin. And the first one that comes to mind would be the checkpoints, police checkpoints. As we were driving on the bus there, I was looking out the window and I saw all of these police checkpoints once in a while. But it makes sense. I mean, the police are looking to keep the streets safe from drunk drivers or people who are illegally driving. So you just have to make sure you have your international driver's license. There are cases where there's scams, where, you know, the police actually sort of over exaggerate the situation, and some people actually pay the police officer right there, so they don't have to be taken down to the station. And guess where the money goes? Into the guy's pocket. So I just heard it's a story, but some people say it does happen, but that's want to watch out for that as well. But the reason why they have these police checkpoints is you know, it's to make it super safe. And it's actually where the Thai royal family has their summer palace or something like that. So they add that extra security there, and that's why it's a good spot for expats to live as well in Hua Hin. But another thing I noticed is you know, I'm not sure if there's an advantage or disadvantage, but you know, the Thais like to really negotiate, right? It's within their culture to do so. So whenever you do have a chance to haggle, you should do so, to always, you know, bring down the price. But I do notice sometimes they charge extra, and they think that you wouldn't notice because you're a foreigner. But we noticed that when we went to the day market, some of those guys actually charge more than they're actually supposed to. But when you calculate it out, you know, it's just a couple of pennies more here and there, so we don't argue about it. Like for example, we were buying some rice, and they were selling it from 5 baht to 20 baht, and they had a whole bunch of different choices of rice there. And he charged us the highest price, 20 baht, for the cheapest rice there. And we definitely knew it was you know, the cheapest rice, because they had red bean rice, which is usually more expensive. And you know, our first assumption there was, hey, we're being ripped off, but hey, it's only a couple of cents, so we just let it go. But we're mindful for that kind of stuff. But when we gain more experience in those local areas, then we'll figure out how much those actual prices are. And if anyone quotes us a higher price, we just move on to another vendor. So it's simple as that. But it's better not to argue, really, in Thailand. But one bad point would be the traffic. I mean, the drivers aren't really that great here in Thailand. And also, if there's a crosswalk or even a traffic light, they will not stop for you. It's scary enough. But that's the case in all of Southeast Asia, I would say. Even in Japan, they don't stop for you. But and I mentioned it is easier to walk in Hua Hin, but the thing is, there are certain sections where there are no sidewalks. So but most places I find, in the main areas anyways, has these really nice sidewalks you can walk around. But I can see that there's construction here and there where they're extending out the sidewalks, so that's something to remember as well. So another disadvantage would be that, although, yeah, like I mentioned earlier, Hua Hin is known as a beach town, it isn't a place where you can put your towel down. The beaches aren't that clean either, I find, and there's some garbage here and there, but I really want them to clean up certain sections of the beaches. It'll be a lot more attractive. But that's another thing. And also, you know, there's a growing population as well, and it's just, wherever there's a growing population, it just adds to the garbage, right? So there is garbage in, you know, in the little canals that they have as you're walking by. And but I do see that they've been pushing some recycling programs here and there, like they're advertising it. Probably just recently, because I still see some garbage on the streets, I find, that no one really picks up. It's just sitting there, and some of the garbage, I bet, has been there for months on end. And also, there's little or no jobs in Hua Hin, especially for the foreigner. I mean, there's English jobs, but you can also have English jobs online as well. But really, there's no job where you can just, you know, throw your resume in and get a job in Hua Hin. So keep that in mind as well. But another thing about Hua Hin, especially the downtown area, is that it's like a solid concrete block, you know, from one block to the next. It's all concrete. But the whole area used to be kind of like this, and they tore it all down, all the nature. So do expect that as well. But overall, despite the disadvantages I speak of, there's tons more advantages or pros to living in Hua Hin. But if you're looking for a really serene place with all the combinations of you know, not such a large town, not such a tiny town either, and has all the amenities that you need. And it's a beach town, and you know, there's a lot of nature walks as well. And the food is great, and the people are friendly. It has all the combinations you would need. That's perfect for an expat. So it's really a great place to really you know, do your own research there, your due diligence, to see whether or not it could possibly be your retirement destination. So tell me what you think of the pros and cons of living in Hua Hin in the comment section below. If you like this vlog, please don't forget to give me a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell for more of my coming content here. Thank you for watching my vlog. Be free, gain wealth, and travel far.